Hi everyone, thank you for joining us today and watching a demonstration of what is the latest and greatest newest additions to Jamworks. My name's Connor, I'm the co-founder and CEO of Jamworks. We're really excited to present to you Jamworks 3.0, where we are taking note-taking completely hands-free. If any of you have ever been on a demonstration or have watched any of my presentations in the past, we talk about actually assistive and being actually assistive a lot. What does that mean? We're talking about, let's break down the barriers to note-taking. Let's unlock those barriers to learning and education. What we mean by that is let's level the playing field. Let's ensure that every single student has equal opportunity to education, to learning, and benefiting from the resources that are delivered to them during their lectures and seminars. With Actually Assistive, we are supporting the comprehension of information. So we're automatically generating flashcards, now automatically generating highlights. We're supporting the recollection of information for revision. So now we're even automatically writing the notes for the student. And we haven't built this in a way that we just want to create the notes and the student actually does nothing, but we want them to have the most benefit and the most support during their note-taking experience, during their revision, so that they can learn better, but also be in the room. We want you to be actively listening, not passively listening. We're guiding the learning of students with our automatically generated flashcards and our automatically generated highlights. We're now breaking down what could be quite complex, long-form materials in the form of an hour-long, 2-hour-long, sometimes even a 3-hour-long lecture, now into bite-sized chunks. So it's easier to absorb, easier to comprehend, and easier to get an understanding of what's been spoken about. We're supporting the students in their note-taking, ability to take notes and take better notes. So with our automatically generated notes that we create, it's a perfect starting point for the students. They can rely on them if they want to, if they need to, but actually it's a really good way to set a structure so now the students can take the notes that Jamworks generates and continue to elaborate on them, work on them further for their own purpose. Being actually assistive, of course, customizability is a big thing here. No updates in terms of our customizability. Jamworks has always been completely, fully customizable in terms of every single element in Jamworks. Ease of use. We've now made it even easier to use Jamworks. There's a reason why we did this. In the past year that we've been approved by DSA and have been providing Jamworks to DSA, hundreds, if not thousands of students have been using Jamworks, but also been giving us feedback. And things that we've learned, some of the things that we've learned, students will receive 5 or 6 different pieces of technology as part of their DSA support package. They go through training for this, and now they're expected to create a change of behavior, start a new habit. So they've got to remember to use this technology that they've been provided every single time they have a lecture, and to kind of adopt that new way of learning and living in a sense that they've now got to remember to do all of this stuff. So actually what we did with Jamworks is we took it right down to the bare bones and we said, okay, let's give them nothing to do. Let's not have them focus on their laptop, on their mobile device, so they're not actually participating. Why don't we just make it as easy as possible so that someone just presses the start recording button, we're going to do all the note-taking and the highlighting for them. Jamworks is now integrated. So we've integrated with a lecture capture platform called Panopto. If a Jamworks user is in a Panopto-supported university, then all of their content that has been recorded in Panopto is now going to automatically synchronize into Jamworks, so they'll benefit from all of the assistive features that we provide. Quality and reliability. Of course, it has to do what it says on the tin. Every single time, without fail. We've had massive updates there as well. In terms of the quality, Our live captions have just had a massive update. You will not see a better quality live captioning service. We have around a 95% accuracy. We've just reduced our word error rate again by another 20%. And also the latency as well. Our transcription and our captioning also has an understanding algorithm and an understanding model in there as well. So with our captioning, when I show you this in the demonstration, you'll see that it actually changes color. So it will start as a lighter color, it's captioning what it hears, and then when it goes a darker color, it's captioned what it understands. So it will understand the context in real time, and the latency is incredibly fast as well. So we've spoken about these 5 use cases quite a lot. Students with dyslexia, struggling with reading and writing long form text. We're now breaking down long form text into smaller snippets of information. In terms of our key points, we're writing bullet points. We're summarizing all of our content that is generated. So we're now going to automatically summarize an entire lecture into 1 or 2 paragraphs. Students with ADHD, they're struggling to focus for periods of time. They're also unable to recognize important moments in lectures or meetings. So that actual method of note-taking is a real struggle for them. They struggle, or they're unable to really get an understanding of what should they be taking from this lecture. So we now do this for them in terms of the key points that we generate. Stress and anxiety, probably the biggest impact here is the impact of information overload, or the fear of missing out, the complete opposite. Information overload is a real thing. Lectures, if they're 3 hours long, that student now has to figure out a way to break that down into pieces of information that they can revise from. So with our automatically generated highlights, our key points, our flashcards that we automatically generate, we're now breaking down all of that impact, all of that overload into manageable chunks. Hearing impairments, as I just said, our live captions have just had a massive update, and I'll show you that in the demonstration. And then motor impairments as well. Being physically unable to write or type, or they have a difficulty in writing or typing, we're now taking all of that stress away from them. So at first, when we released Jamworks, we actually built a note-taking application, which meant that you didn't actually have to write any notes. Now we've built a note-taking application, which means that you actually do nothing. So as I said earlier, during the class, during the lecture, during their seminar, all they have to do is press the start recording button and the end recording button. Nothing else, because we want them to be engaging in their class, in their lecture, asking questions, participating. Let's not make this harder for them to use. Even though we've added more features, we've actually made it even easier to use. But we still have the optionality there. If the student would like to create their own highlights, they absolutely still can. So in this latest release, Jamworks 3.0, we've released hands-free note-taking, so the doing nothing part, automatically generated highlights, automatically generated lecture notes, AI-generated summaries, AI-generated flashcard quizzes, and the brand new Jam AI Copilot, which I haven't mentioned, but I'll show you this in the demonstration. So in the demo, I'm going to show you the highlighting widget. I'm going to show you the note-taking experience, live captioning support, reviewing your recordings, AI-generated summaries, AI-generated flashcard quizzes, and I'll touch on user customization as well. So reviewing your recordings, this is Jamworks. This hasn't changed at all in terms of the user experience. We've just added to it. What we'll never do, we'll never make a massive change to a user experience where the student has to relearn how to use an application. We've just added elements here that will actually make it even easier. So the video recording or audio recording, the video or audio player is still available as the main element. We have the highlights down the right hand side. But what you can now see are some highlights have a little robot icon. These are highlights that we are automatically creating using AI. What we do here, from the transcript, we understand context. We understand what is being spoken, what is being talked about, and what is this topic. So we understand that dream interpretation has been spoken about for 3 minutes and 49 seconds. A bit further down, neural networks has been spoken about for 27 seconds. And a bit further down, dreams aiding trauma processing, spoken about for 1 minute and 7 seconds. This is only a 5-minute video, so there's only 3 automatically generated highlights. For an hour and a half long lecture, you'd likely see 18, 19, 20 highlights that we will automatically create. And as you all know, the benefit of the highlights is that we'll automatically create the flashcards out of the highlights. The other benefit of these highlights is that we support the student in that navigation of the recording later. So we're breaking down the information into bite-sized snippets of information. They could click on any element, dream interpretation, and it will take them right to that point in time in the lecture, in the recording, that dream interpretation has been spoken about. A bit further down, neural networks, I can click on that, and it will take me to that point where neural networks has been spoken about. So we're going to automatically create these highlights, we're going to automatically name them, and we'll automatically summarize them as well. So we can see here's a transcript of the highlight, quite a lot of text there. We've broken down, well, we've condensed all of that text into one sentence, which perfectly explains what this highlight was talking about. We do that for every single highlight, and we also do it for the entire recording. So down at the bottom, there's the summary tab. This is the summary of the entire recording that students can use, they can read through, and we're going to summarize it at a very high level. We do it in quite a conversational way, so it's almost like you've asked your mate, what happened in this lecture, I missed it, for example. The response would be quite similar to that. For an hour-long recording, this would likely be 2 or 3 paragraphs long. The full recording summaries and the highlight summaries. What we are seeing are a lot of students are using these to guide their notes as well. So they'll probably use these as a header or a starting point, and then they'll continue to elaborate on. So summaries for every single highlight and summary for the entire recording as well. With our transcripts, not much has changed with the transcripts. As always, we break down the transcript into paragraphs. We highlight the spoken sentence. We don't highlight the spoken words, so the student can follow on in their own time. We have a transcript of the full recording and then the transcript of the highlights, so students can just read through the only parts that have been highlighted, get an understanding a lot quicker. And then we also have focus reading as well, which when we tested this, just over 50% of students preferred reading with focus reading. It's like a speed reader. Your eyes read the first half of every word, your brain fills in the rest of the word. As I said, this was a preference, and it was just over 50% of students that preferred reading with focus reading. So we've just made it really easy to turn it off and on. The next step in Jamworks after the transcript are the notes that we generate. So in key points, we're going to extract all of the key moments, all of the value, all of the main parts of the lecture, and break it down into a title, explanation, and bullet points. This, what we've learned and how we've tested this with students, this is the preferred way that students would want their notes to be delivered to them. So we have a title, we explain the key point, and then we jot down some bullet points as well. We do this completely automatically for the entire recording without the student having to do anything at all. The AI that is used here is also very flexible. So for mathematics, for example, if it's talking about a complex algorithm or an equation or anything like that, these key points are actually going to be more of a step to get there kind of thing. So it'll almost be like a process to follow to get to a result of an equation, for example. So it is very flexible to its use case. We've even had users of this, and we've tested this in the police force, in police interviews, for example, where we create an interview log. So it's very, very flexible to its use case. So a bit further up, we have the quiz. No updates to the quiz as of yet. We do have a massive update coming with the quiz very soon in terms of more adjustments to our flashcards. So the manual creation of flashcards, students can put in a question, we'll automatically generate an answer. Students can put in an answer, we'll automatically generate a question. And we're also going to provide the ability for a student to be able to mix and match their flashcards so that they could have a question and an answer, or they could have a question with multiple choice and be able to track their progress as well. Now the next part of Jamworks, something that I didn't mention, or I just mentioned at the end of the presentation, was Jam AI. Jam AI is a study assistant. It is trained specifically on the material that the student has been delivered. So a few of the things that it's not going to do, it's not going to write your essays for you. If I asked it to, it'd return with an error. And it's also not going to support plagiarism either. So it's not going to copy material. You can only ask this information about what has been delivered in your lecture. So this video is about why do we dream. I saw there was a flashcard about REM sleep, for example. I can ask this questions, and based on the transcript, based on the database that the student has through all of their classes, this is now going to generate answers based on the material that has been delivered. So this ensures that it's relevant to the age of the student. So as long as they're not being taught doctorate materials, it's not going to return anything like that. It's going to be appropriate to the age group, what the student is studying, and be specific to actually what the teacher said with more of an explanation. So it explains it very well. You can also use this to ask questions as well. So ask me a question. And this is now like peer-to-peer learning. So how I would, in university, how I would have studied is with flashcards, but with a friend. They would have asked me questions, I would have answered it. They would have said I was right or wrong. But actually the difference there is that if they don't understand or know the answer either, then you're both stuck. So the benefit here is that if I don't know the answer, it'll give me further pointers to be able to get me to the answer. It's not just going to say no, wrong, this is the answer. It'll actually guide you to getting to the answer yourself. So that, as part of the latest updates in Jamworks, what I've just shown you, the automatically generated highlights without the student having to do anything. I've shown you the entire recording summary. I've shown you the entire recording key points. And I've also shown you Jam AI, which is the AI study copilot. The next update that we have released is in our captions. So if I just start a recording on my widget. As I said, our live captions have just had a massive update. What you can see here is that it's going a lighter color and then going darker. So it's captioning what it hears, and then it captions what it understands. You can see how fast it is and how accurate it is as well. It hasn't got actually a single word wrong right now. I can still move it to dark mode and light mode. I can move it down to the bottom of the screen, back up to the top. Also, the other update that we have released is that our captions will always stay. So now I can scroll back and read through my captions in my own time. One of the biggest pieces of feedback that we did have was that our captions were disappearing too fast. So we just kept them there. And the student can go back and forward as much as they want. They will remain there for the entire recording until the end of the recording. And then, of course, they change into the transcripts. So students can use these for their notes if they want to. They can use these for anything, read through in their own time. So that right now concludes the demonstration. So as I said, what I've shown you, the latest update to our live captions, hands-free note-taking. So these buttons are always going to stay here: highlight, track back, and flag. But the student now doesn't have to do it if they don't want to. All they could do is press the start recording and the end recording button. We're going to automatically create the highlights. We're going to automatically create the flashcards. We'll automatically create the summaries. We'll automatically write the notes in terms of the key points as well. But I also wanted to show you a video from one of our students that have been using Jamworks as part of her DSA support package. She's called Megan. She's a student that predominantly struggles with stress and anxiety. And it's just a really nice case study that you can watch in your own time. I'll add it to the end of this video. And you can hear from Megan herself about how Jamworks has supported her. I hope this demonstration has been useful. If you have any questions, please drop me an email at Connor, Conner, jamworks.com, and I'll be more than happy to help.
Hi, my name's Megan and I'm a final year university student. My anxiety diagnosis causes me to experience a number of symptoms and difficulties that affect my ability to study and learn. These include things such as having a poor attention span and severe anxiety during lectures. This is why I use Jamworks for my study and revision at university. When I arrive at my lecture, I simply open up my laptop, click start on a session, and automatic highlights are created for me based on the content that's being discussed in the lecture. If any topics are spoken about that I want to note down, I create a highlight. If due to my poor attention span, I've missed any important information, I can use the track back button to go back in 15-second increments to make sure that I've captured everything that I need to know. Using the Jamworks app during my lectures has made a significant difference in my stress levels overall as a student. I attend my lectures confidently now, with lower stress levels. I don't need to worry that the way and method that I'm revising and taking notes isn't good enough, because with the Jamworks app, there's multiple ways in which I can absorb and use that information to my advantage. Following a lecture, when I engage in a study session, I will rewatch the highlights that have been automatically recorded from my lecture. I can copy key aspects from the transcript, which is automatically generated from the session, and I can use that to create my own slides, PowerPoints, Word documents, etc. When looking for quick and easy methods of revision, Jamworks is the app to go with because it creates summaries of the highlight clips that you have generated during the session. Reviewing these summaries helps to refresh your memory on what's been discussed during the session. The Jamworks app goes one step further. It automatically creates revision quizzes for me to test my knowledge based on the information that has specifically been taken from the lecture itself. It's difficult to acquire key points from a 3-hour lecture, but by using the Jamworks app to record the necessary information, I'm cutting out all of the unnecessary topics and discussion, saving me more time to do what's important for me. Being able to focus and engage in my lectures is something that I thought I would always struggle with due to my anxiety diagnosis. But using the Jamworks app during lectures allows me to be more present in what's going on around me. AI is an aspect of technology which is a game changer for education, which is why the Jamworks app have introduced Jam AI, a tool within your study session that you can ask pretty much anything. If there's any key information that's been left out from your lecture notes, or if you simply want to learn more, Jam AI is there to answer all of your questions. If you're a student like me who struggles with poor attention span and stress during your lectures, I recommend downloading the Jamworks app today to feel more focused and engaged in your lectures and save time as a student.